Hey, greetings everybody. We're up and recording. Welcome, greetings. Yeah, man, I forgot to tell the guys before that. This is actually my 200th episode. So you guys
Wow.
are in special territory. So thank you, thank you for being part of the.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, the story.
For sure, thank you, man. 200 is a big number. I spoke to everybody, and I've been speaking to everybody, every genre of art since COVID. So we have a really interesting, what is it? Not that catalog, a bouquet of episodes. A lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, so all my listeners, if you haven't already, please smash that like and subscribe button. I will seriously appreciate it. And then here's to the next 200. So, I mean,
Wow.
so
The
today's
next 200,
episode.
man.
Thank you, man. So today's episode, I'm inviting back. We got that Art Company Soweto. If you guys remember, I had them on a few times. I can't remember when, but it's anyway. But you know, I spoke. I know we previewed Tabo's episode show also maybe 2 years back. Great stuff, man. You guys in the art company, one of the most I would say groundbreaking, definitely trendsetters. And we know. But anyway, let me not give all that flowers off yet. So first of all, gents, firstly, man, thanks for coming through. It's evening today, so good evening, gents, man. How are you? And welcome.
Hey, good evening, man. Thank you. Thank you for having us on your platform. We are
Thanks.
very excited to listen to you, man. It's been a while. So we're glad that this is the 200th episode. I
Yeah,
think
man.
it
Here's
speaks
to that.
it's testament to your you know persistence and the hard work. It's not easy to do these things,
Yeah.
and it's not easy to keep it up, consistently. So, congratulations to you, man.
Thanks, bro,
No, no,
man.
thank you, so much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for having us. Big up to you. You've been, pushing this. I know how it started. It was a bit of, struggle, but you never give up. So I'm still glad that you're still functioning even today. Then I saw a couple of your projects. It's like this guy, he's growing. You're becoming better and better and better. And
Thank
it's
you.
it's a pleasure to invite us to come back again. This is more like a follow up to check up on the progress and program. How we've been doing since we spoke 2 years ago. So
Two
thank
years
you.
ago, just as 2 years ago.
Yes.
On that time, my concept of time is not the same anymore. A half an hour, a month, a day is not the same. A year is not the same to me. But that's a bit of an abstract topic, maybe not for today. But guys, man, check it out. Like I said offline, man, you guys have been really busy. You had a show on the 13th of September. It wasn't it like recently? Wasn't it like last week or something? It could even be, yeah, it was last week. The rest is December, but
So, it's,
so the
it's,
art company is aware.
yeah.
So the art company Soweto has been really busy, man. But like before we get into all the shows and everything, for those people who have been living under a rock, just explain to us who you guys are, who's the art company Soweto, and what you guys do.
The Arts Company Soweto is primarily a printmaking studio, based founded in Soweto and then now based in two more places. We have been part of the creative community at Cornhill for over 4 years now. It has been in existence since 2018, and we recently signed our lease, to be part of the community in Eddie's house. So we have
Okay.
3 studios running concurrently, which is great. I think it speaks of expansion in terms of growing the brand and spreading the printmaking message. We exist, to fulfill creative projects and to make good art education, accessible. We exist, for artists because we are artists, and we've been doing all these creative projects, including exhibitions, solo exhibitions, and all these other programs, to push and literally get our seats on the table so that our opinions and ideas, are heard. And as you said, the people who lead us, hear what the ground is actually demanding, and so and how they could actually service us.
In addition, the Art Company is formed by artists for artists. I always emphasize that because we doing what we're doing because we understand the people we're dealing with. We understand their pain, and we're trying to solve those kind of problems and challenges that they always experience because it's something that we felt, So, and then probably that is why it's so easy for us to run the Art Company and run it because purposely is to stop complaining as creatives, as artists. Some people have to do something about what we're going through. We need to penetrate the industry, even if it's difficult, even if there's no support. And the biggest thing about the Arts Company is about community. And then it's one other thing that we're trying to make it to trend so that it can inspire other creatives that we don't have much, but we have each other. Hence every time when you invite us, we just come because we believe in supporting each other. Because if we don't win, the next coming generation will keep struggling. So we need to create a better foundation for them, and also what you're doing, I think is good because it's the legacy that we really have to live. And one other thing that I'm excited about, bruh, we both studied with you. You understand when you say you are artists, you are creative. We came from the various institution, we studied together, and then now we contributing to the industry, Yes.
Yeah, for sure, man. Actually, on that, because we all come from the same studio, or we started off at the same studio, and there's no question in my mind that had a profound impact on both our careers, and all our careers, especially the direction that we're heading in. And there's no there's no question about that. One thing that you raised there about community, that's actually something that I've been picking up a lot on this platform, is how artists are forming. And when I say artists, just for everybody that is sort of new, when artists, I'm referring to writers, I'm referring to some musicians, not DJs, musicians, playwrights, and then poets and so forth, and of course visual artists and sculptors, and basically everyone that does work in an art gallery. And the thing about communities that now that I've noticed post COVID is that there's been a real or artists are really clinging to that, really clinging to the network and growing that, especially in an online, in a virtual space like we're doing now. So on that, man, on you guys's on this partnership, I know you guys have partnered with a whole bunch of people. You mentioned Ellis House. You guys got a studio there now at Cornhill. Just tell us a little bit about that, man, and how does it work? Because from somebody from the outside, it seems a bit overwhelming. If you say there's like so many people and so forth. But so just give us some perspective on that.
Okay, so there's a range and different ways in terms of partnerships that we work in. Most of them are collaborations. So when both organizations have a similar need to fulfill, or a similar mandate to fulfill, then the partnership makes sense. So for example, Cornhill does have a education aspect department to them. So that's where we would also come in, because we are also teaching this art and art access. So we will partner up in such a regard. Or maybe they might have an exhibition space, so they are always looking for organizations to actually exhibit in those spaces. So then we would partner up, because then we might be producing the work and then might need an exhibition space. So all of these relationships, are mutually beneficial. Our partners, benefit from being exposed to the artists that we work with, being exposed to other organizations and other individuals. So the partnerships, benefit both stakeholders, I guess, involved, and everybody wins. So those are some of the best relationships we've had. That it's a symbiotic relationship. So and also it makes it easier because then everybody knows their roles and responsibilities, which makes it easier to actually achieve some of these goals that might be similar.
Yeah, man. Just explain to us the three studios. So what you guys doing differently at like you're saying at Con, you got more an educational side. I know they do a lot of workshops, a lot of kids there and so forth. And Ella's house also got a different because of the gallery and so forth. Just explain to me what makes it different and how do they operate?
All right. Actually, Con here, the setup for a printing studio, it has to be a little bit open, where you can able to get those stations that will be freely working around. But now, Con Hill, how it's set up, it's more like a house. It has small rooms. So, and then time to time we have a lot of creative into the space at the same time, and it's harder to work with them at the same time. So we had to split them into groups, and that it became more a bit of a challenge. So the space that we are operating currently, it's best if we work with, few, or it's an individual who's working into the space, but now it doesn't accommodate the group. So now we got to a point whereby we need to expand and get an open space, where we can have everything that is needed in the same space to print and then to host more than 20 people, because each and every program that we're running, it comes in a form of education. We don't showcase the work that's produced outside. Each and every work or the show that we do is the work that produced by us. If we can check, this year we did a project as part of Africa Month to celebrate African Month, which came as education, where we teach printmaking, we produce work, and it's a number of people into the space. It was challenging to do it here in Cornell. Then we had a June 16, where we had about 16 youth coming to the space at the same time. So it was quite challenging, right? Then we have women of substance, working with a number of women, about 11 of them. It was a similar challenge. Then we got into a point whereby, you know what, I think we need to launch another space whereby now it's going to be mainly for education space, right? And then Cornhill, because it's kind of like a small intermediate space, is going to be mainly for business, So we separated these spaces in that sense. For example, if Wesley comes and book a studio, we'll accommodate you into Transverke because it's very intimate space. We can have a space for a month without, being interrupted by saying, you know what, there's other projects that are running at the same time. So that there's other program education that is literally running on the other side. And the reason why we also wanted to have another space, we have an ambition of starting junior Saturday classes, because we're responding to quality art education and it has to start in a very, very early age, basics. So we have to also think about these kids. So that's how now the spaces will start operating at the same time.
Also, I think part of our challenge is, the previous regime's spatial planning. You know how cities are built in South Africa, and everything that is of good quality, you need to take a taxi to access, which is so sad. So where Soweto is situated in response and correspondence with access to markets, for example, it's challenging for people who actually consume the art that we produced and people who actually consume and buy the art that we produce. So we had to follow the market in terms of where it is, or make it easier for the market to actually access us as well. So part of being spread out in all these places strategically is to create accessibility to us. We, for the first 2 years when the company existed, whenever we do something, people would just assume, even if it wasn't, that it's in Soweto because it's in our name. They're like, I can't come to Soweto, whatever, for whatever reason. So we had to, listen to that feedback and maybe deal with it. One way of mitigating was actually to go where the market is, make it easier for the market to access us. So all these are creative spaces. All these places are actually accessible by public transport and, by driving, and they are secure and they foster, creativity. So part of the reasoning of choosing all these other spaces as well is to just answer that question of access to market.
Interesting, but that you say like people assume that it's Soweto because it is in the name, and then the first response is I can't come. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous actually. But like
ridiculous.
interesting stuff, man. You're saying, I mean, three different studios, a lot of admin, man. How do you guys handle that, man? Because because as we know, and this is not for people who don't know, and I'm trying to speak to the business side of everything. So the Art Company Soweto is a private company, correct?
The Art Company Soweto is?
Yeah, the Art
So
Company Soweto.
how do you I mean I mean both you guys are the faces and you're the artists as well. So how does the management of the company happen? Do you guys do it on your own? Do you have a team doing that?
Yes, we have a team. It's a growing team. So we have 3 more people besides us. So the whole team is like 5 people now, which is quite cool. So we are literally, contributing to the economy because we're creating employment, which is fantastic. So we've spread ourselves amongst these spaces to ensure that they are all functional and functioning every day.
And then we also have 2 extra part-time, which is the other one. It's a facilitator that we always outsource when we need more like in manpower. And then there is another person who's more hands-on, when we have shows, when we have to create frames, So all in all, we are 7. It is a 17. And we're looking forward to expand. Probably
Yeah, of
target
course.
if we can be us, Yes. We need to add more on the technical side of it, print technicians. Yeah.
Interesting point, man. Actually, that makes me want to sort of talk about the whole tech side of things. But I just want to come back on something that I want to give you guys flowers for, and maybe just get your comment on it, which was dope. Man, I mean, last year, you were nominated, or did you guys win an award with that Township Economy Award?
We were nominated. We were finalists in the nomination for Township Awards.
So that's interesting, man, because that's recognition for an art company in a township environment. Now the township economy, for some of our listeners that have been following some of my previous episodes, that's something I'm also very interested in, especially with regards to art, because I think that is a booming market and it's an untapped market. Not untapped, but you get what I'm saying. So what was the response,
Yes.
man? And just from a business point, like does other businesses sort of recognize what you guys are doing? Is there more collaboration in that regard and more funding, especially money wise?
To be quite honest, we've been very independent, because one of the reasons we're not pushing much on funding because we wanted to push our own narrative. So when you get into a point whereby now we have people who change the vision of how you want to take this business forward. We got this far independently, but now I think it's now an opportunity to bring in funders or the support. And I think it was for the first time having a sponsor on our previous exhibition at June 16, where sponsored by African Bank, of which it was the biggest, response from what we've been doing, because we take that as a feedback, saying at least there is some recognition if an organization like that recognize us. So we take that as a bit of an amazing feedback. But
Yeah, that's dope.
to
Dope.
be honest, yes, we never had any funding backing us up. We've been, financing ourselves as creatives. We'll find a way to be creative and innovative to generate income that can sustain the business.
That's interesting, man. Because just another closing point on that. That's something that I'm tracking on my own as well, is to see like how other companies are sort of looking at art companies, because as you know, there's a bit of a, maybe not a prejudice, but there's definitely a, art companies, everything to do with art is just all over the place. The money is sporadic. And all these other negative associations. So sort of to be seen with other businesses, I think just the
Mm.
optics is good. The optics is pretty good. And it also says, like I say, that people with serious money is sort of recognizing the work. And I'm sure mid-term, long-term, there can be potential collaborations, partnerships, and so forth. So yeah, that's really cool. Like you're saying, you guys did us African Bank sponsored one of your guys' shows, and you guys have been doing shows whole year. It's actually, I was going through the pages saying like, yo, I even didn't see this one, I didn't see that one. So just give us a little bit of overview, man, like some highlights on some of the shows. What were they about? Reception. What was the public's reception and so forth.
We couldn't catch most of what you were saying. The
Oh,
line is just
oh,
spinning.
is the line
Uh,
breaking? Okay, that stuff happens.
yeah.
So I'll just start from a what I was going through your guys' pages, man, social media pages, and checking out all the shows you guys are doing for the year. You even mentioned now in the previous answer with regards to African Bank sponsoring a show earlier on. Um, so is there any highlights you can? I mean, you guys been there's been a few shows done for the year. Is there any highlights that you can say? This feedback on any of them. What was it like? What was the reception like? And then we'll get to the art after that. Did you get the
Yes.
question?
It's been it's been quite a busy year. It's been one of our busiest year, and we're quite happy about that.
Yeah.
We've been productive and we've been meeting some of our goals and ticking them off, which is fantastic. The year started off, a little bit slow, but we were already by January, second week of January, we were already working with professional artists, producing work in the studio, which was fantastic. Started off the year right. But by then we were completing last year's projects. That kept us busy until May, where we did a print portfolio exchange with a studio called Coco 10, based in Tanzania, which was fantastic. And then it's a project that we're actually looking forward to do again next year. If there are any printmaking studios that are watching this, from the continent, if they can reach out to us, we'd definitely love to, collaborate with them. So it's an annual program where we do print exchanges with studios in the continent. It was fantastic because 20 artists participated and then we exchanged work, which is amazing. It's actually print portfolios are very rare. We found that in the market, most of them don't exist. I think it's because they're expensive to actually produce, but they also assist artists to start collections, which is great. And then we jumped onto another program, annual program, which is June 16. So we invited 16 young people to actually reflect the times while being inspired by the youth of 76. They produced the amazing work which was exhibited at Constitution Hill Women's Jail. And we had collaborations and partnerships with African Bank. We had collaborations and partnership with Constitution Hill and the City of Johannesburg, specifically the Department of Arts, Culture and Heritage. And they co-funded the production of the work and the exhibition later. which was great. We had an amazing opening with over 200 guests, with the work
So
being exhibited and sold, which was fantastic. It formed part of
absolutely.
a program. Program. Can you hear us?
Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it formed part of a program called Basha Uhuru. It's one of the biggest festivals for Constitution Hill, and invited youth, to be part of that program, which was great. We did a walkabout, and I think had an opportunity to also interact with the president of the country, which was amazing.
Really?
And then soon after that, yeah, dude, politics.
Yeah.
It's an honor. It's always an honor to have the president of the country walk through your
Wow.
exhibition. It's not an easy achievement.
Yeah, shit.
Our leaders don't usually
They don't
attend
care.
any exhibitions, so that is an achievement. As to whether they bought or supported, it's another thing.
Yeah, wow.
Also in August, on the 9th of August, we opened the show with 11 artists, women artists celebrating other women. It was an amazing and an emotional show, where we saw people receiving works and being recognized, which is also amazing. In particular, it was great because then, artists used their gift, to celebrate other people, which is not happening in our society. It's rare in our society. Specifically, people are celebrated after they've passed on. Also, we turned that project into a print portfolio exchange, where the artists who are participating could also exchange work and collect each other's work, which was fantastic. We got to partner up with an organization called Women Who Collect, who also supported the show and made it, elevated it and made it amazing. And then immediately after that, also again, we started working on a solo show, which it forms part of this background that you see that opened on September 13th. It was a solo exhibition by an artist called Liz Mailani. She's an artist who was, for the main part of her career, was based in the States. She used to teach animation, and she used to, I think, part-time teach animation at University of Stanford, which was fantastic. And now for the first time, she was experimenting with printmaking. And she opened the show this past Saturday on the 13th of September, which is going to run until 13th of October. It's a multimedia exhibition with a range of other activities planned for the exhibition. So it's been an awesome busy year. And in between all of this, we're producing artists, we're producing our own work, participating in other shows, participating in markets, participating in exhibitions, expos. Decorex, for example,
Yeah, I
we
saw
participated in
that.
Decorex, we participated in Johannesburg Art Fair. We participated in a number of other projects, outside the studio, which has been amazing. So this year has been quite busy, but it's been a good busy. And we're currently also working on a group show with a couple of guys that should, we don't have a specific date now, but it should open on the first weekend of November. So it's been a beautiful year.
Yeah, in addition, especially looking at this current exhibition, how it came about, I think it's a beautiful story, to share. When Liz came to South Africa, she was a bit frustrated, lonely, and facing a couple of challenges. And then she met us and said, "Guys, I don't know where to go, and I'm looking for the community." And we're like, "You know what? There is a program that we're running every Friday. So it's a 2 months exercise where we engage the artists for a month, and the second month they work independently just to find their visual language, and then so she signed up for that program because she wanted a way to get back to the industry or to introduce herself into Joburg industry because she hasn't done anything since she came back. And then while she was in that program, we were like, you know what, because you took a risk by signing up on this program, you're going to be part of a group show with other women, right? So for her being part of it, she signed to be part of this Women of Substance exhibition. That was her first exhibition in South Africa that she did, which is the first program that she did with us, which is Friday program. Then moved to exhibition, which is Women of Substance. And then that also exhibition comes with production education, they are not, most of them, they are non-printmakers. They had to learn printmaking for the first time. Some of them are photographers. They had to produce work for the first time. So immediately after that show, Women of Substance, she was so confident to do her first solo with us. So she's been with us from the beginning of the year. And then now she opened this awesome show. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it's the program that we're dealing with. Even if you don't have money to go to and study, in higher learning, you can sign up for our program. It's very affordable. The money that you pay, it's a commitment to be sure that you're going to start the program to the end. But with that, it's a matter of giving you access to market, to connect you to other artists, to make sure that if there is any opportunities that are running while you are still part of the program, then you'll be the first person to access that program. So you don't have to wait for our program open calls, but you can just sign up for that. It's a Friday program. So yeah.
That's interesting, man. You guys also give us your details, but how people can get in touch with regards to that. But we'll sort of do that towards the end. Yes, something that I want you guys to comment on, man. And you were mentioning it a lot because of your collaborations. So the Art Company Soweto's collection must be substantial by now. Can you just give us just talk a little bit about the collection, who's featured, how big it is, and so forth. Maybe even the value of it.
That is awesome, man. Like printmaking, because of its very nature, it's collaborative, which is fantastic. Allows us to reproduce editions of work. Also, part of the tradition of printmaking, allows us to artists to leave work with the studio. If work has been made here, they leave some of that work. These programs alone, Women of Substance, June 16, Coco 10, all involved more than 50 artists, already. So that should tell you that each artist left an artwork to the studio. So the collection of the studio is always growing. In fact, we had a team meeting, with the rest of the team, a staff meeting that we have every Monday. So it was amazing that we spoke about that there is a lot of work that needs to be also sold and distributed in the market because we are always collaborating with someone, some way, somehow. So the work has been amazing. Some of the amazing artists that we've worked with includes Tonton Kabeya, an amazing artist signed with Everett Reed. There's Teresa, also signed with Everett Reed. There's Blessing Gobeni. We're working with a number of artists, Hook, Swarantle. I think is that, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. There's a range of artists, Zandi Shabalala, Thokozani Matonsela, you name, like, there's plenty of artists and artworks in the studio who are actually established and are doing, I think, very interesting things in the industry. As to the value of the collection, I would rather not say it, lest we draw unnecessary attention to ourselves.
I had to throw that one
I
in.
can tell you, it's quite substantial, and it's looking very good.
Looking good.
I'm usually quite happy. Yeah, I know. All I need to do is just, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I'm trying to get, quickly collect stuff, highlight me. I have a collection of the most contemporary, amazing South African-based artists.
There's some
I think at
serious
the
guests.
moment, there's some serious collection, which is actually quite interesting. So we joke, most of the time in terms of people will always ask you, who have you worked with? The question that I think people should be asking is, who haven't we worked with? That's I think that's the important one. And the more interesting question than the previous, because we literally work with
Yeah,
everyone. You name
I
them,
love that. Love it.
we probably so, yeah.
Yeah, in addition, we want to print everyone, including you.
Yeah.
You are on the line.
No.
So I am telling you. So as Molefe said, we want when you ask, if you work with Wesley, you're like, yes. You can just name any artist. Like we work with everyone. So we are in a mission of printing everyone. We're starting with South Africa and the rest of the world.
Now, I think I can actually do a full episode just on that, just on the value of your guys' collection and the concept of collaboration, because I think it's so integral to our community, to our industry. In comparison to other to other industries. But gentlemen, here's something that I do want to pick your brain about. And just bear with me so I can just give you some perspective over here. So based on what you guys are saying, collaboration, most of in fact, all your shows are in a physical space. People still have to get into the car and drive to there. You mentioned earlier on that you physically move closer to like Cornhill, so it's accessible to everybody. So he's already thinking of getting the art closer to the market. We are living in 2025. The world has changed since 2020 in leaps and leaps and bounds, and AI is now the biggest goddamn force in the world, and it is something I would just say I've been following, but I've been asking every single artist that I work with, or that I talk to, and work with, and whatever. But I've been asking every single artist about it, and it's very interesting the response I'm getting. It's also really interesting the response I'm getting from people in decision making. I don't really want to name drop names, but like people who's got influence in our industry, and interesting feedback. And I'll just give you a very 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 quick overview that nobody gives a shit. There's a lot of apathy. If it doesn't affect you directly, why should I care? And there's also some paranoia that is fueled by a lot of things, and I don't really want to talk about that. But what's your guys' view on that, especially with regards to moving forward? Because your business model is dope, but is there room for it to change? Because we are living in a global a world where everything is accessed off your device. I mean, we're recording this on 2 devices. There's also the thing of new markets, and how do artists work with these tools, including AI tools. But and then also just give us your view on it, man. Like, what is the Art Company Soweto strategy around that? Do you think it's the AI art might threaten your bottom line eventually? And well, there's a few other questions, but I think I've said quite a bit already. So, what's your anybody on that?
Okay. Your line is special, but anyway, I think I get the gist of the question. Well, AI is disrupting every industry, and as it should. Yeah, I think humans are sitting pretty comfortable, with our superiority. I think we're above everything else, so it's challenging everyone. funny enough, artists come from a point where even the career choice of being a creative, was risky. Our parents always, in fact, I dare say 98% of artists, were told by their parents or family that, you should have plan B. It's a known thing that art is not safe, So when AI came about and is threatening even doctors,
Yeah.
threatening safe careers like accountants, then the rest of humanity has literally just joined us, in terms of not being safe, I guess in our approach. The beauty about it all is that I think we need to change our minds much quicker than it was anticipated in terms of our project, our career trajectories, but also integrate, AI in our practices. Yes, it actually does make our work, some of our work, aspects of our work much easier. But what's interesting about printmaking specifically is that it still requires the human touch, So, unfortunately for printmaking, for example, we started a whole industry, in the industrial revolution, and then better equipment and better things came, into existence, and did what we do better and quicker. I'll take the printing of newspapers, printing of books, printing of posters, and then the biggest one was photography, for example. It literally challenged creatives. And then I primarily use that example, when people talk about the threats of AI. Artists evolved when photography was invented. It came into the picture. If you think about, traditional painters, they took forever to produce a painting. 6 months to a year to produce a painting, and then came this medium that could take a photograph, produce an artwork, or produce this image instantly, which was people would just have to stand there for a mere couple of seconds, and then an image was reproduced more accurately as well than an artist ever would. That challenged creatives, especially visual artists, to look a little bit further, and a little bit deeper in them, and to produce work. And I can tell you, there are still more creatives, visual creatives, than photographers. So it tells you that we've survived something like that. So I'm hoping AI would do something similar, as photography, where it will challenge us, and to find out, actually answer the question of what makes an artwork, what makes a great artwork, what other aspects of being human does it take, for one to actually produce amazing artwork. Right now AI still relies on us to actually create things. It needs to be prompted by human beings, so that element of humanity is still involved in the production of or generation of knowledge or images, videos, whether it be sound as well. But it still requires a human touch, prompting. AI is not prompting itself. When it starts doing that, then the conversation shifts and becomes very interesting and very different. Because we've never met something that is sentient, I guess, that would be as sentient as AI, that would prompt himself to produce things. Right now, technology requires that human input to actually produce something. So I'm quite excited in terms of the possibilities, because it does open up new ways and new tools of actually creating. It will definitely challenge the traditional disciplines, but it will be up to us as well to integrate and evolve, I guess,
Does the
and work with these new
does
mediums.
the art company Soweto, do you guys have a strategy around that moving forward? Looking at like the next year, or the next 2 years, or next 5 years?
Yeah, for me, firstly, just to tackle the idea of AI, if we can check earlier before when the technology came in, the media industry, it was a bit comfortable, and there was a lot of red tape. But when the technology started taking off, people started having more opportunities, like yourself right now. You don't have to go and study in media so that you can do podcasts at first.
Yeah.
Then it open up opportunities for other people who don't have access, who couldn't go to school and study and then and take out their talent and show off, right? But the technology gave the people an opportunity. I think AI is also going to expand and give other people who have more, who are more innovative, who have more ideas, an opportunity to, come up with something amazing. So for me, I'm very excited about it because it will challenge, like as Molefe pointed out, it will challenge the way of doing things right now. And then I think it's an opportunity for the art companies away too, to tap into this idea of AI in terms of how other ways of creating works, because now printmaking is a process. It's not just only printing, but it starts by generating images and then processing the images and then taking into a printing studio and start printing that. But now if we can find a way, to challenge printmaking itself, because the idea of the art company is about experimental. So it will give us that kind of an opportunity, to even go further. And every time when we work with artists, coming from different studios, they come here very frustrated, say, you know what, I wanted to do a certain thing, but I couldn't. Because printing studios, they're still following tradition way of doing prints. And then we often call them print makers. See, now we make art. We don't make prints, So even if you come in as a sculptor and say, you know what, I have an idea of creating a 2D, we're like, okay, let's see how we can create your artwork, not a print, because we might break the process and the rule along the way. So, but as the arts company, we're quite excited because we're going to find a new ways of creating the work rather than like integrating the human touch and then the AI, and see how we can, come up with an African look, South African visuals, from whatever that we can literally get from the AI. Yes.
Interesting, man. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Thabo and Molefe, man. Just to wrap up, sort of. Like I said, I've got the personal invest. I'm personally invested in information around that because my platform is done. There's always a technical thing. There's another technical thing that came up yesterday. Frustrating, but the platform is done and it is working and blah 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 blah. And like I said, I'm personally invested in understanding how where to fit the arts in this world, and especially the access, but the access, opening of art to new markets, and sort of curating that experience where it's not just a static, one-dimensional, impersonal thing like you do on a phone. If you don't know the person, you don't know the art. Like we want to make that a bit more personal, and there's tools to sort of create that. That's sort of my angle. And like I mentioned, I've been asking everybody, and I've sort of been gathering information and sort of seeing how artists are reacting, because essentially I need artists to sort of trust the process. So if we say do this or think like this or do this, it sort of comes from a place that people can trust, because the work that we're doing is not easy. And you mentioned earlier on about community. That's a big part of our industry, and in that community, there has to be a level of trust. So that's sort of my where excuse me, where I'm coming from. But I think we can wrap it up, man. Owens, man. Molefe, Thwala, Thabo, Motseki, thanks a lot, brothers, man, for coming through, and thanks for the shout out. I mean, it's the beautiful words in the beginning. I appreciate it, man. You guys mentioned earlier on about if artists want to collaborate with you guys, find what you guys are doing? How do they get hold of you? Who do they get hold of? Or where do they get hold of you?
Artists, it's usually easier to find us out on any social media. If you just type, you can Google search even the Art Company Soweto. We have our website, which is the artcompany.co.za, where you find almost all the information that you might need, even including even a phone number, so you can even chat to us via WhatsApp. So if you just maybe first, I'd advise every artist to just go, or potential collaborators to go to our website, which is the Arts Company, the Arts with an S, THEARTS company.co.za, because then you will find all links to our social media platforms, and then you find a link to our emails, and you'll find a link to our WhatsApp as well. So you can actually have a chat with us, and then we could meet, then talk these things over and work.
And if you are closer, you're not far from us around Joburg, you can visit the Art Company at Transverke, 2 St. Hancock Street, Constitutional Hill. We always have exhibitions up. We want people always to come and visit us, to come and see our space. We have awesome spaces, and we have also space in Eddie's house, where literally there's always artworks up, and it's a very beautiful community. So people are welcome to pop in, because we open from 9 o'clock to 5. There's always people in the studios. Saturdays is by appointment. Let's say weekends, it's by just an appointment. But yeah, everyone is welcome to come and visit the studio.
Fantastic, man. Guys, once again, thanks for coming through, man. I'll let you know when I publish the episode. It'll definitely still be in this week. And I'll be in touch with regards to everything, really, because there's a few things brewing on my side. I don't really want to mention it on this platform. I burnt my fingers like that before, so I'll do that privately. But yeah, man, thanks a lot for coming through. And blessed, man, great, great job. But
Thank you.
let's keep this thing let's keep this thing going, man, and our paths will cross again.
We really appreciate, I know. We really appreciate you, inviting us to your platform. But yeah, anytime, man. I'm always glad to talk, anything about related to the arts, and see how we could, band together and do amazing things.
And good luck to your platform, man. It's important, I know it's challenging, but don't stop. Just think about how you started, how far you have come, and keep pushing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, my man.
Blessed, my kings, man. Enjoy your evening, man. I'll be in touch via WhatsApp, yeah?
All right.
Thank you, man.
Salute, gents, man. Yes, man. Ciao, bye.
Bye.